name is Ashley Fitzgerald, and today I'm going to be explaining to you 4 ways to prevent friends from drinking and driving. Have you or someone you know ever been involved in a car accident involving a drunk driver? Well, it happens a lot more often than people think. From the Alcohol Alert statistics, in 2009 alone, there are almost 11,000 fatalities involving a driver who is intoxicated. This included 32% of total traffic fatalities for the year. From the Mothers Against Drunk Driving campaign, they stated that every 52 minutes, on average, someone is killed in a drunk driving crash. I've studied this issue of drunk driving by reading journal articles and web pages relating to the topic. I also spoke to a person who was personally involved in an accident where he was drinking and driving. Today I will discuss the 4 ways to prevent friends from driving intoxicated. Firstly, choosing a designated driver. Secondly, calling a taxi or a sober friend. Thirdly, you can choose to hide the person's keys. And lastly, you can explain the consequences, such as imprisonment. Let's examine the steps you should take. A friend of my mother's, Mr. Bobby, was involved in a car accident when he was 25 years old. He was leaving downtown Shreveport after a night of partying and chose to ignore his friend's request to not drive him. He ended up having a horrible accident where he totaled his car, and he is now in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the waist down. Because of this story, I feel very strongly against drinking and driving and want to encourage you to do the same. The first step to prevent friends from driving drunk includes having a designated driver. In Springsteen's article, she pointed out there will always be someone who can't drive for one reason or another. It is always good to switch the driver out so that one person isn't being the driver and everyone can enjoy a fun night. Also, setting up a carpool and having several people, you can split the gas expenses so not one person pays for all of it. You can choose to delegate a designated driver for nights when you go out with friends, so there will always be someone who isn't drinking. The second way to prevent friends from driving drunk is to call a taxi or another sober friend. From Yahoo Phone Directory, I found that there are 10 taxi services in the Shreveport-Bossier area. This provides ample opportunity to have a taxi readily available for you when you need one. There might be a time when the designated driver makes a mistake and chooses to have an alcoholic beverage, and therefore you would need alternate transportation. It is always better to call a taxi or another sober friend to come get you than to risk getting in the car with someone who has been drinking. You can have a taxi phone service number programmed into your phone so that you can always have a phone number to call. In Shreveport, there are always taxis waiting outside the bars, so you should use them if they are available to you. The third step you can take to prevent friends from driving drunk is to take the person's keys. Mr. Bobby told me he wished he would have listened when his friends tried to take his keys from him. He also said, people should make sure to take the person's keys before they begin drinking, so there is no argument or question about it. It is important to take their keys at the beginning of the night, because the more people drink, the more they think they're okay and try and convince themselves that they can drive. At the beginning of the night, you can make sure that anyone who is drinking does not have their keys, so they won't have an option to use them to drive themselves home after they have been drinking. The final prevention strategy is to explain to the person the consequences he or she will face when they choose to drive intoxicated. From DMV.org, I found the penalties for getting a DWI. The penalties range from first offense, where you will have your license suspended for up to 90 days and face up to 6 months in jail. Second offense involves suspension for up to a year and a mandatory 48 hours in jail. Third offense included up to 2 years in prison, up to 2 years suspension, and a mandatory 30 days in jail. And the fourth offense included you lose your license for up to 2 years and spend up to 30 years in prison. The penalties in Louisiana are very severe and are not to be taken lightly. Cops are working very hard to have checkpoints where they can crack down drinking and driving and really work on this problem. For the first and second DWI convictions, you earn a criminal record, but for the third and fourth convictions, you earn a felony criminal record. You can explain these penalties to a friend if they are wanting to drive and you know it is not safe. Oftentimes, telling someone they could face serious charges will show them how important the problem is. What you can do to stop friends from drinking and driving if you are hosting a party includes: you should stop serving alcohol well before the party is over so that people have time to sober up. You should also provide lots of food so that people who are drinking can eat the food and it will absorb their alcohol. You should also plan for other transportation if you plan to go somewhere afterwards, or just simply hire a driver for the night. In conclusion, drinking and driving is a serious matter and should not be taken lightly. Not only could the person harm themselves, they could also harm others around them. You should make sure to follow these 4 prevention strategies I've given you to stop your friends or family from drinking and driving. I encourage you, next time you are out at a party or other social gathering involving alcohol, to take the step and to stop someone from getting in the car when they have been drinking. Thank you.